amigos de Usalamedia Network. Estamos aquí de nuevo en Campus. Les habla Fernando Mendez. Mi invitado especial el día de hoy es Fernando Treviño. Fernando, bienvenido.
Tocayo, buenos días.
Buenos días. Entre tanto, aquí Danny y Dylan Di Rosato están manejando la máquina. Siempre me gusta darles crédito a ellos porque
se lo merecen.
Trabajan, se lo merecen, sí. So, let's, when I'm addressing serious topics, I need to do it in English for some reason.
Sure.
Spanish fails me because, well, it's a good reason. My sources, when I read, for the most part, in English,
I agree.
New York Times, Wall Street Journal, when I listen to MSNBC, CNN. So,
I'm happy you didn't say Fox News, though.
and well, I once in a while I said, like, I have to see why. How can they be so out of touch with reality? You know. So once in a while I switch. So like, no, let me out of here.
It's too much.
I don't understand why. Why is it that like we see the same thing, we hear the same thing, but they sort of go the other way?
Well, it's a great business for them, right? They know their audience. It's a great business. They don't care about if they tell the truth or not. They just have their own set of facts, and they sell well. So.
Okay, so that brings us to what in some way, what is the topic of the day? We'll probably we always go off the road, but which is reality is what it is. Reality is where we are supposed to live. I mean, we know what we see, we know what we hear. All our senses are connected to like everyday life, reality. But what is happening with the Republican Party? They are not living in a real world. It's all of a sudden like they have derailed. The party has derailed, and they're taking all these millions of people with them, and they keep following them like lemmings, like to the abyss.
Yeah, so it's funny that you mentioned that and that we were talking about Fox News, because I think that it went from letting Fox News to do that and they governing and having their own, conservative policies and whatever, where we can disagree or not. But the last few years, I would say maybe the last 10 to 12 years, or maybe more since Obama, I think, the Republican Party started to act like Fox News. Right? It was, they would develop their own set of facts, they would develop their own set of reality, their own reality, and push that also as policy and as specific legislation, instead of just letting, the Fox News, the news channel that they have and that they created, to do that with their base. And so instead of bringing Fox News to a more realistic approach and to do the news, even if they have a conservative approach, Fox News actually brought them to them. And they flipped the script, where now if you don't follow Fox's news script, you're not Republican enough. Right?
But a conservative approach is one thing. Insanity is something else.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Because, okay, just one example, this glaring example, the whole January 6th attack on the Capitol. How can you say that these were peaceful people who were just tourists in the Capitol?
Yeah.
Right?
And the amazing thing is that it's public record, right? I'm not creating anything out of thin air. There's public record that shows texts and phone calls between Fox News anchors and the White House, right? First encouraging, but then actually they recognize it like this is too much, right? Sean Hannity and a bunch of other people reaching out to the White House chief of staff, telling them like the president needs to come out and put a stop to this, right? They actually recognize what was happening, and a few weeks later, like they forget about it, and then they have a whole new rhetoric. And we can say the same thing about McCarthy and about Mitch McConnell. If we remember the first few days after January 6th, everyone was announcing what happened, including Republicans, and now it's like nothing happened, right?
But look, Fernando, the internet, like, it's forever. the evidence is there forever. Like anytime we want to, we can Google and find Kevin McCarthy saying, "I had enough. The president is guilty of that invasion, of promoting the insurrection, blah, blah, blah." And then the next day he's in Mar-a-Lago and saying, "No, everything's okay." Mitch McConnell remains silent throughout almost every crisis.
Well, I'm going to sound like, the old man yelling at the clouds, but the issue with the internet is that you also find a lot of misinformation and actually fake news, right?
Yeah.
Right now, I was watching one of the political satire shows on cable, and there was an interview with a Republican supporter right now where he was actually blaming 9/11 on the Obama administration. Like literally, where was President Obama when 9/11 happened? He was traveling and taking vacation. And the guy interviewing him was like, wait. So you're telling me that President Obama didn't do enough to avoid 9/11? That he wasn't in the Oval Office enough to say like, yeah, because it was his fault. Well, that happened in 2001, 7 years before the president was actually elected.
He was probably a student at that point.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but anyway, but that goes to tell you the huge issue that exists on both sides right now. But the Republicans and the MAGA kind of followers have taken advantage of that. The level of misinformation, and they created an art on developing their own facts and pushing those facts to their base, and their base, they just buy everything. So
yeah. So that's what, talking about alternate reality. What they created, famous the White House aide, McLean, what was her name? She was married to this lawyer who was already anti-Trump. Anyway, so these people, she's the first one who said, like, we have alternate facts. It's like, no, we have, reality is what it is. The truth is what it is. And now they're playing something Giuliani said. Truth is not truth. Like they play it all the time.
Yeah, truth is not true. Truth is the perception of what I tell you that truth is, right?
And that's what Obama, to quote Obama, he used a fancy word, epistemology, the study of knowledge, to say that somehow knowledge is not what it used to be. It doesn't matter what you know. Somebody's saying that's not a fact. Somebody's inventing new things.
Yeah.
No matter what, don't believe your eyes, believe what I'm telling you.
Yeah. And again, it proved to be very convincing and a very smart strategy from Trump. And now Republicans are governing as as an official tool, right? That's what's happening in Congress. That's the way that McCarthy is leading the House of Representatives right now. And it's just unbelievable that the Republican base is so blind. Again, Democrats are not perfect. They do the same kind of stuff like politicians do, but the level of
self-deception.
Yes.
Because look, now I want your reaction to some of these things.
Sure.
George Santos, he should not be anywhere near a political office. I don't care. He could be a clown if he wants to be. He doesn't belong in government anywhere.
So it again, no facts. It's been proven and recognized from both sides. Not only he lie on his resume, that's a fireable offense anywhere, right? He actually campaigned on it. And voters actually voted on his background, his resume, that is proven to be lies. Again, I'm as someone from Latin America that we're used to use both last names from my mom and my and dad. I understand that he's not stealing any identity because he has two names and two last names. So depending on how things go, if he goes with his first name and his father's last name, or his middle name and his mom's last name, and he mixes it. So I understand a little bit that he's not stealing anyone's identity because those are, his names. But at the same time, he's doing it to deceive people. Specifically, he's taking those steps to say, For example, Fernando Treviño is one person that has this background. So I'm going to run, I don't have a middle name, but let's say that it's Luis. I'm going to run like Luis Martinez because that's a whole other person, and I can do and keep lying on that. And that's the issue. And again, you know, is it a crime? It's debatable depending on the consequences, but we're not holding him accountable as any other person. We're holding him accountable as a U.S. representative. He's a congressman that was elected based on those lies.
He said something about the Holocaust. Somebody in
his father was a survivor of the Holocaust, and
it's totally false.
Yeah.
What was it? He was in a championship.
Either the volleyball team or something like that. Yeah. Look, if you're talking about
for a college he never attended,
extracurricular activities, I'm not condoning it, but hey, whatever. But yeah, he was lying about very specific background that he used to campaign and to deceive voters. And right now, I'm still waiting for Republicans in Congress to hold him accountable.
There is something in the culture about sort of winking at sort of a picaresque kind of thing, like Leonardo DiCaprio playing that guy who was a pilot.
Yes.
You remember that?
And a doctor and a lawyer.
And so this kind of like we don't necessarily reject that personality because the guy was very famous, a real person.
He was very famous, though he was breaking the law, so we're not saying that George Santos is doing it yet. But yeah, it's that kind of stuff. You know, he created his own persona based on whatever he wanted to do.
The fictional character.
Exactly. He never ran for office, though. So
no, that's true. Which is what the problem is. But that's what we are with some of these people. What I said before. That their record is on video, on emails, on texts. Knowing that this technology is available to anyone and for a long time, why do they keep saying things that they shouldn't say? Why do they keep writing texts that eventually will come out, will be seen? And these are very smart people who are doing this.
Because they're smart, they know that the voters don't care. Right? You and I care. The moderate Republican cares. The base, what it is, the Republican base right now, they don't care. They are going to believe anything they say, and if they change tune and flip-flop 2 days later, they're going to believe the reason why they're flip-flopping, and now the new reality is whatever they say. Again, we saw that with January 6th. We have seen that in many other instances, and they just don't care. They're going to believe whatever they tell them. Yeah.
Exactly. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who posed with a rifle and threatened the lives of AOC and Ilhan Omar.
Yeah.
And now she's in Congress in charge of a committee.
Yes, national security.
National security.
This, and we talked about this the other day. This is a congresswoman. This is a congresswoman who actually said that January 6th would have been successful if everyone would have been armed. Like literally, she wanted the insurrectionists to be armed in order to stop the election. So, and she's now in the House National Security Committee. This is a congresswoman that claimed that 9/11 wasn't real, that it was a hoax by the liberal media, whatever. So that's what it's scary. Again, does it surprise me? Not. But at the same time, it's just the level of I don't give a bleep from these voters to say that it's fine, that they claim to be, very big on national security and public law and enforcement, but they have a wing of the Republican Party going after the FBI, the Department of Justice, and all of that. So how can you argue on one hand that you support, public safety and that you're a public safety voter and that you want to defend your country when at the same time you have an open attack on the Department of Justice, on the FBI, on the CIA? Right.
Exactly. And right now, there is a danger that they will just walk to the edge with this raising the debt ceiling. And what a lot of Americans do not understand is that this is not for future spending. This is money that was already spent, that it's on credit, and now we have to pay that debt. It was incurred during, some of it during all the presidents, but it was mostly during the Trump administration due to that tax cut to billionaires.
To the ultra rich, yeah.
And here we're dealing with that. And now they're playing games with that.
Well, they have done the same for years, right? That this goes all the way, although it goes, decades more. But the most recently was with President Obama, right?
Yeah.
The ceiling, all of that, and they as long as they can use politically, it's fine for them.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But there is a danger that they would just go too far with this, and it will cause tremendous hurt to this nation in terms of losing jobs, losing our credit, international credit, all that stuff.
And all of that, everyone thinks, well, that doesn't affect me. But again, if the country's rating goes down on the economy, right? The banking system, all of the companies that loan money to us to, get a car, get a house, they're increasing the rates. So suddenly, if I'm paying 4, 5, 7% on my houses as tax, that's going to go up to 12, 15, 20%.
Exactly.
And that's when it's going to be a direct hit in our pockets, right?
Yeah, look what happened to Argentina when they couldn't pay the international debt. So, so Taylor Greene is not alone. I mean, the other guy was Gates from Florida. I mean, he played games with the McCarthy vote until the very end, no? And so what is this secret document that they're talking about? Apparently there's some secret agreement from that group of 15 or 20 congressmen who wanted to put pressure on McCarthy, and he made some concessions, McCarthy, that he shouldn't have made for these people.
Yeah, he sold his soul to the devil in order to be Speaker of the House. I don't know the details of the document, but what it's public right now, again, is that part of those concessions, part of that compromise was to include, 3 or 4 members of the Freedom Caucus, as they call themselves, in very important and specific committees, right?
Yes.
One of them now is the lead of the Oversight Committee that is going to be investigating openly, right, the Department of Justice, the FBI, because they are supporting Democrats, according to them. When right now, again, it's public, it's on the record, the FBI agent in charge of investigating Hillary Clinton and a bunch of other people, it's been proven, and he's been charged now with taking money from Russia.
Right.
So, but, the Republicans want to investigate the FBI because they're helping Democrats. It's that level of stupidity that it's amazing, and it's there. Mayor Marjorie, I'm totally missing her name. Thank you, Taylor Greene. One of the concessions was she needs to be on the national security. On the National Security Committee. And the other one now we're seeing is that they needed to kick Congresswoman Omar out of the...
Apparently that was one of the conditions for the vote
to open
for McCarthy.
And then you need to add, adding the Biden adding an investigation to the Biden family, pretty much taking away every tool that the ethics committee has in order to avoid Republicans being investigated. So,
Now, for the first time, I saw a reaction from Hunter Biden that he's going to sort of counter-sue these people who are investigating him because they made up a lot of stuff about him. So there are laws to protect you from libel and slander. So let's see what happens.
Let's see.
With that, because they say that They claimed that there was a computer that was abandoned someplace. There was no computer. This is a leak from someplace, or somebody made up information.
So look, is Hunter Biden a perfect guy and innocent of absolutely everything? Probably not, right? We all have done stupid stuff. Maybe he did more or not, but guilty of every single thing that he's being charged. Obviously, that's absolutely insane, right?
No, he's a little bit of a scoundrel. I'm not going to defend him.
No, and look, openly, the president has admitted that he has a drug issue and that he has been in rehab. Again, like many people, I'm not saying that he's fine. He's fine or not. But again, they are using this as another, remember the Hillary Clinton email scandal where it didn't go anywhere but enough to influence the election, and now we have all of this stuff, right?
I remember Trump calling on Russia to release her 30,000 emails or whatever. Yeah. Unbelievable. Anyway, so it's a crucial time for us in a way, because there are 2 years. These people had almost 2 years to do as much damage as possible to our institutions, discrediting the FBI, discrediting whatever efforts we make in terms of diplomacy around the world, because they want to do something about Ukraine. We are supporting Ukraine. I don't know if they are going to succeed, because there is enough sort of bipartisan support, but this group they want to change that.
They want to stop all support to Ukraine. Some of them have actually made statements, right, supporting Russia and supporting Putin. So,
yeah. Anyway, it's all a distortion of what we should be doing. They want to do the opposite. And it usually makes no sense what they're proposing anyway. So that's one aspect. They're affecting everything. Domestically, the economy with its debt ceiling, that has to be fixed. They want to take money from the military at a time when we need more. I'm not always in favor of investing more in the military, but this is a time in which we should really do something about supporting Ukraine, giving them airplanes, tanks, whatever they need. So, but they want to undermine the military, the FBI, the intelligence agencies. The only thing they're still supporting is the Supreme Court, because obviously they're on their side. But every other institution.
So the reality is that long-term implications in terms of legislation, we know that we are somehow safe because Democrats control the Senate, and at the end, President Biden could veto something as something important, and they don't have enough votes to override a veto. But like you're saying, but the Congress, specifically the House of Representatives, they have specific control of things, including the budget. So that's when the long-term aspect can come into play, right? Mm-hmm. The debt ceiling, the investment to Ukraine, moving and shuffling some of the budget or the funding to different agencies. But the main thing is the uncertainty that they can build, right? In terms of the economy with the debt ceiling, in terms of the U.S. commitment to peace and to the leadership around the world, moving funding from Ukraine and other places. And for example, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds, but if you remember the tragedy that happened in Benghazi, right? This group of militants invading the consular office in Benghazi, an ambassador died, another consular staffer died, all of that stuff. It took months and months and millions of dollars from Republicans to investigate the State Department because Hillary Clinton was the Secretary of State. What it never was, at least from the Republicans, said and acknowledged is that the lack of security from that agency was because Republicans cut the funding because they control the House from the State Department. Right. So was it an oversight from the State Department and Hillary Clinton? Of course, there's stuff that needed to be investigated. Yeah. But the main reason that consular post didn't have the security that it should have is because they didn't have enough money. Because Republicans in the House, took away that funding from the State Department. So that could happen. I'm not saying that another Benghazi will happen, but a similar example could happen when they move funding from an agency, something bad happens, and immediately they shift the blame into the administration because at the end, they are running the country at this point. So,
well, mea culpa, I was one of those people who thought it was Hillary's fault that she was not paying attention to Benghazi. So,
and again, I'm not absolving her of everything. She was the the Secretary of State. That was her preview. Probably there were mistakes happening there, specifically on the response of the administration. Totally agree. But the fact is that the nature of the problem was Republicans moving away funding to that specifically.
Yeah,
So
I understand.
Yeah.
But all that it has become clear. So 2020 hindsight is,
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Monday morning quarterback, like we say in
Exactly,
Philly.
right. Speaking of, not to deviate completely, but we have a Super Bowl coming up.
Yeah.
So I think the Eagles are going to win. They should, by all means. The quarterback situation is sort of even.
No, I do think that
young.
Patrick Mahomes is
He's a better
quarterback. Yeah, it is proven.
More
it's a better
experienced,
quarterback.
perhaps.
Yes, but Jalen Hurts is doing a great great job as well. Look, I'm a huge sport junkie, so I can spend the whole days talking about it. What I'm gonna share with you, and I'm more than happy to expand in another show, is that during the last Super Bowl, I had the opportunity to follow the whole season and the postseason from Latin America. It happened that I was consulting in Latin America, so it was very interesting. And to be honest, it felt really nice to see all of the support that Philadelphia had across Latin America.
Yeah.
Because I was watching the games on Fox Sports Español, right, on the Spanish, Fox Sports, and they would do a couple of different things like posting social media stuff on the screen, and you would have Eagles followers from everywhere. Obviously Mexico, but then you would have Argentina, Colombia, Brazil.
Right.
It was really neat. It was really, really nice. And to be able to identify Philadelphia fan clubs all over Latin America, it was very interesting.
Right. It's sort of a parallel thing with Argentina becoming so popular in soccer.
Yes.
Because of Messi, he had so many followers all around the world, and people were, rooting for Argentina, which, turned out to be.
Well, we have personal friends, so we better shut up there.
Well, Dario, one of our friends and former colleague of yours on the radio, he says they have 4 years to celebrate the victory.
Of course.
They keep throwing more and more parties. He's just throwing another party for us.
Yeah, just last week he hosted one. So
anyway, it's a good thing to do. So we're going to take a short break here in Usalamedia. Les habla Fernando Mendez en compañía de Fernando Treviño. No se vayan, regresamos en Campus en un minuto. Pagano's Market and Bar has been serving gourmet Italian foods in Center City for 3 generations. Call Matthew Pagano for all your catering needs, and during these difficult times, please mention Fernando Mendez and receive a nice discount along with free delivery. Pagano's also makes the finest gift boxes in the city for all your holiday needs. Visit paganosmarketandbar.com. Amigos de Usalamedia Network, estamos aquí de nuevo en Campus con mi amigo Fernando Treviño, hablando sobre varios temas. Pero ahora vamos a cerrar con un broche de oro. Vamos a ver qué decimos. Primero que todo, darles un avance a nuestros oyentes que vamos a hablar en un futuro no muy lejano sobre Latinoamérica, la política de Latinoamérica, que en este momento está, ¿cómo se dice? Está en una crisis, pero bueno, Latinoamérica siempre está en crisis. Así que es un momento en que hay mucho empuje de la izquierda para regresar al poder en
sí, hemos tocado el tema muy levemente anteriormente. Creo que para los televidentes, los radioescuchas, es muy importante estar un poquito más actualizados sobre lo que está pasando. Y obviamente hemos visto un movimiento hacia la izquierda con tendencias socialistas tipo Bolivia, Venezuela, en Colombia, en Nicaragua, en México, en Argentina, pero últimamente también se está viendo un movimiento a la izquierda, pero a una izquierda más progresista, más pragmática, como es en el caso de Chile. Entonces vamos a tener a un par de invitados expertos en el tema. Si todo sale bien, tendremos a buenos amigos desde Argentina y desde Bolivia comentando el lado político y sociológico de lo que está pasando con el lado de comunitario, de movimiento ciudadano que se está poniendo a este movimiento, ¿no? Y creo que es interesante ver, se volvió Brasil, que regresa Lula hace unas semanas, entonces va a ser muy interesante poder platicar y analizar un poco más.
Sí, eso será probablemente hacia el mes de abril, así que stay tuned, como dicen. So let's talk about our immediate surroundings. We have an election for mayor in this city, and so far there are,
I think that it's 10 now.
10 candidates?
Yes.
Okay. That's one too many. I don't know. We know that some of them have no chance of winning. I just saw the numbers for the money they have collected. Alan Dom is at the top with 5 million, whatever. And below him, everybody's got less than 2 million.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Money plays a role. We know that, right?
Money plays a role, but history tells us different in Philadelphia. Again, we have had several millionaires running for office, billionaires, I don't know, but running for mayor in Philadelphia before, and they haven't been successful. The difference with Alan is that Alan is not only a tremendously successful business leader, but he has been working in city council for the last 8 years. He knows the city in and out, so he has the business sector experience, he has the government experience, so his profile is different from all of the other candidates with a lot of money. But at the end, he's going to be facing very, important challengers that come from either the progressive side or from the more establishment political side of of Philadelphia. So
yeah, so like we said before the show, we were talking about Nikki Haley and Pence, and we said they should save their money. Who in this city should just save your money? Don't bother running.
Well, out of the people running right now, and sorry, friends, hi, I would say De Leon, Amen Brown, even Derek Green, that I really like Derek. I just don't see a pathway for him to for victory.
Is it because he's young, relatively young?
Well, no, he's mid-50s and he's been in city council for a long time. The problem is that you have Cheryl Parker running at the same time, right? You have now Amen Brown. Yes, so there's the kind of the different West Philadelphia coalition that is going to be tough for him to win over Cheryl Parker because she has most of the union support. So Cheryl is going to be more like the establishment candidate from those coalitions and some labor. Helen Gim is going to be the establishment candidate from the progressive side and some other unions. So it's going to be an interesting mix. But again, so I think that Derek Green, Mr. Judge De Leon, Amen Brown, I'm totally forgetting the name of the former deputy governor or lieutenant governor who just announced that I'm forgetting his name.
I can't do it.
Yeah, he shouldn't be running. Look, I do believe just yesterday I saw a picture online where the 4 women running for mayor, and I would love to see one of those 4.
Right.
There may be one exception, but in general, I think that it would be the right thing to do. But, Alan has a very strong case, and Jeff Brown, even when he doesn't have any experience on politics, he's making a good effort. Yeah. I don't know if you saw the Philadelphia Citizen the other day. Michael Nutter, the former mayor, killed him on the interview. Like, if you guys are out there and you guys want to pay attention, go to the Philadelphia Citizen. It is a very good interview where Mayor Nutter challenged Jeff Brown to the point where he didn't know what to answer. Yeah.
Right. I just saw the headline that he had taken a few punches from Nutter. Yeah. And he was a good mayor. Michael Nutter was.
I'm biased. He's a good guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's now move to the governor. We have a new governor, and Shapiro is doing a good job from the few things that I have seen. His appointments, Rich Negrin is one of the best appointments possible for him, and he's still naming more people to his cabinet, so I suppose he's going to have I don't know, he might have more Latinos, but I'm glad to see Rich at the top. So
Yeah, well, having Rich Negrin running environmental protection it's a great victory for our community, but for the Commonwealth. Right? He's a very experienced manager. And I think that a lot of people don't understand that the DEP is one of the largest agencies in the Commonwealth.
Mm-hmm.
So you needed someone with a lot of experience managing and running large operations like Rich has on being the deputy mayor of Philadelphia and the managing director.
He ran the city.
He ran the city for Mayor Nutter.
Yeah.
You know, on the other hand, and you know, I would like to see more Latinos appointed, of course, right?
Yeah.
We always want to have our community represented. But yeah, no, but Governor Shapiro is doing a great job having a diverse and a very, very well qualified cabinet. And that's really, really important. But again, he took office 2 weeks ago, right? He's been literally in office maybe 3 weeks by the time that the show airs. And I think that the two very huge accomplishments outside of his cabinet is that a lot of people believe that is symbolic, but the fact that he withdrew the requirement for college graduates to be state employees, he's opening around 70,000 new jobs just with one signature, right? So that's going to be huge, not only for workforce development, but to bring a different set of expertise and experience to his administration. That's going to be huge.
Yeah, I think what it means, to put it in the right context, it doesn't mean that a lot of stupid people are going to come into government. Yeah. What it means, a lot of experienced people with no college degree may finally be able to serve, because that's what's annoying. A lot of people who have done their professional job, whatever job it is, roofers, electricians, you know, have a lot of experience doing that. They cannot go anywhere because they don't have the college degree.
And that also is going to open the door to have a more diverse workforce development and more immigrants, right? We do have a lot of professional immigrant community in Philadelphia where you have lawyers, architects, any kind of expertise that, you know, including myself, that we went to school in our own country. We don't have a four-year degree, four-year college degree in the U.S. because we came in already as a professionals.
Right.
That, you know, now a lot of jobs are going to be open for that community as well. So let's just hope that step, it's not only symbolic, but it also helps with the diversification of the Commonwealth staff.
That reminds me that occasionally I get an Uber driver who is multilingual, who was a doctor in Nigeria, and this is all he can do right now because they don't have citizenship or even the credentials to get another job.
And like you're saying, for example, a doctor from Mexico is not going to be able to work as a doctor here, right? What we're saying is that now he may qualify or she may qualify to a better job with the state, even if it's not as a doctor, because there are specific professions that you need to have, obviously, the license here. But the fact that you're saying is that removing that four-year college degree, it's going to help to a lot of people. So.
Yeah, so that's a good step in the right direction, I think. There are probably more appointments coming to the cabinet, but what is good to see also, since this is going up, or is it now the Women's Month, and to see more women serving in government, local, at state level, national, on the national level. It's great to see women, and there are more women right now in college than men. Yeah. So this, the prospects are really good for more women in government. Do you think we'll see a woman president at any time?
Oh yeah. I'm not saying that it's going to happen in 2 years, but yeah, definitely we will. Again, we were very, 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 very close in 2016. And again, for many other reasons, it didn't happen, but we were very close. So yeah, no, I think that it's very doable. And I think that I mentioned this before. The way that I see it, maybe it's not going to happen as a woman elected to be president first, but maybe President Biden stepping down and Kamala Harris ascending to the office. So maybe we are going to have the first president that way.
That would make Jerry Ford a prophet.
It's just, you know, it's just an option, right? But definitely we're going to be seeing very, very soon a woman president. Again, Philadelphia has never had a woman mayor in the history, right? We're electing in May, it's going to be the primary, but this year we're electing the 100th mayor of Philadelphia. So maybe the symbolism is there, right?
Yeah, where have we had women mayors in large cities?
Well, right now you have Chicago, you have, I don't remember Houston still, but LA just elected a woman, Houston has had a woman, Chicago has a woman right now in office, and those are, three of the top 10 largest cities in the country, right?
Yeah, except Philly, we don't have one.
Philly, we don't have one. I don't remember if New York has had one, to be honest, but for sure right now, Houston,
I don't remember a woman mayor of New York.
Yeah.
I don't know. New York also had some not so great mayors.
Well,
although, that's in retrospect, because at the time, Giuliani was one of the heroes of 9/11 and all that. Anyway, Tocayo, thank you for coming on Campus. I know you have a lot of things to do, so we're going to liberate you.
I apologize. It's one of those times where I'm really short on time, but happy to come back anytime.
We're very grateful for anytime you come here. So, señores amigos de Usalamedia, se despide Fernando Mendez en compañía de Fernando Treviño. Muchas gracias por su sintonía. Hasta la próxima.